Hello, Midnight Coders, and welcome. So, last episode we talked about object-oriented programming, and I mentioned that we'd build a player for a RPG. So now, imagine you're building the next great RPG. Not Minecraft, not RuneScape, not MapleStory, not whatever, just an RPG. Now, before you can actually write any code, you need to answer a few simple questions. For example, what exists in our world? You may think, okay, players, monsters, NPCs, trees, food, weapons, equipment, doors, chests, etc. If those were the sort of things that come to mind, then congratulations! These are the things that we would model as objects, and you didn't even realize it. So now, what is it that makes a player and a monster? They both have a name, they both have health, a position, and they can both functionally move and attack. So, what actually makes a player a player? See, a player has a name, some health, an inventory, a level, and position. Now, a monster has a name, health, level, position, and a drop table. See what we did there? We just designed a blueprint for multiple Java classes, and you didn't even know it. So, objects aren't very interesting if they just sit there and do nothing. So, what can these objects do? Well, a player can move, attack, eat, equip items, pick up items, and monsters can move, follow, or chase. They can attack, die, drop loot, a few other things. And again, congratulations! Every one of those actions eventually becomes a method and that we can call inside of Java. Now, software engineering isn't about writing code first. It's about understanding the problem. So, up until now, everything that we've talked about has only existed in our heads. So, now let's turn that idea into something that we can run. So, we're going to open up whatever IDE that you're most productive in. For me, that's IntelliJ, and I'll see you in there. Okay, so here we are in a blank project. And now we can start writing our very first class. So here we're just going to go into the Java package, right click, new Java class. We're going to call this player. Wasn't that amazing? So that created us our first class. Now, the player doesn't really know anything about itself. So let's give it a name. And it also needs to know something like its health. So we'll give it some health. And now it also needs to know about what level it is. So we'll say that again, we'll give this guy a level. And now that's cool and all, but it still doesn't really do very much. So remember the actions that we spoke about earlier? Move, attack, eat. So we need to create some of these. So um, we're going to say move, and we'll leave that open for now. We're also going to create a method for attacking. So this would have another method here, and we would just fill that up again. Now, we also wanted a way to eat. So we would simply say something like the same. And now what we've effectively done here was we've created a Java class that has some fields about itself and some ways about interacting with it. Now, have you noticed that we didn't actually start by writing code? We started about thinking about the problem. That's exactly what software engineering engineers do. We identify the problem, we identify the most important things in our problem, we decide what information they own, we decide what actions they can perform, then we turn those ideas into Java classes. So today we built our first Java class. It doesn't do very much yet, but that's okay, because every large piece of software that exists today started exactly where we are. One object, one idea, one class at a time. So, last episode, I said Java models the way that we naturally think about the world. I hope now that this makes sense. So, now if we look back at the player and monster design, there is something interesting happening. Does anything feel familiar there? So, a player and a monster are different things, however, they are going to share the same characteristics. They both exist in our world. They both have health. They both have a position. They both can move. They can both attack. So, how can we address this problem where we want to avoid repeating ourselves? If we add in more monsters, like bosses, pets, summon companions, this is where OOP starts to become really powerful. And Java gives us the ability to say that these things are related but different. So, what if we created something that represents what they both are? Something that owns what these things have in common. Join me next time as we explore how Java makes this possible. And as always, keep your curiosity open, your skills sharp, and that coffee cup full, everybody. I'll catch you in the next one.